There we go. You should get a recording saying up on the screen now, and I'm going to pop everyone on mute.
I like that. Everybody else on mute apart from me.
Hang on.
No, everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you hear me. Right, okay, good. So, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for taking the time to join us. This is probably one of the few things that we can carry on as a tradition of Download. Traditionally, every year on a Thursday afternoon, a bright, beautiful, sunny afternoon, I come and meet you guys normally in the guest area. We give you a pint and something to eat, and you give Andy Coppin a load of grief about the lineup. Good, and that should carry on. And then you ask me questions and various things. And I'm very proud of the relationship that we formed over the years with the audience. And I don't think there's any other festival in the world that's got this. And it's because I'm as passionate about the festival as you guys are. You know, I was involved from the start when we first created Download. I've been every year, like most of you, many of you, and I'm very passionate about it. And it was funny, the other day, I got into a conversation, and there's two things that drive me on Download. And one was the second year we did Download. There was a young girl that came up to me, and she was, if I get the terminology wrong, I apologise. But to me, she was a full-on goth. She was head to toe, hair, the way she dressed, everything was. And she came up to me and she said, "Are you John Probyn?" And I was like, "Well, I might be. It depends on what you want." And she hugged me. And I was like, "Well, what was that for?" And she said, "This is the one time in a year I can be myself and not be judged by other people." And that has stuck with me ever since. And there's a lot of very unique people that go to Download in terms of all different things. And what I enjoy seeing is those people just letting all their inhibitions go and just having a great time and enjoying themselves. So that's number one. Number two, I make a point of going on the stage every year, normally on a Saturday evening, Sunday evening, just as the sun's coming down, and looking out over 80,000 people having the best time of their lives. And that's what gets me out of bed every day. Those two things, that's what drives me in terms of Download. So the passion is there. We've had some good times, we've had some bad times, we've had some good weather, we've had some awful weather. We've had, was it 3 years ago when we had the first Download? I mean, that was, somebody sent me a video of it yesterday. And that was the worst rain I've ever seen in the history of, doing events in the UK. I've seen it in other countries, but they were Amazon rainforests, and it's not something you expect to see down there. So, we made a promise that we'd improve, and we did. We spent a lot of money on the arena, make things better. But we've had our fair share of rain, it's fair to say. But we continue. We have a programme that's every year we do more improvements in terms of drainage. The venue are brilliant. With the people, the MSV who now own Donington Park are absolutely fantastic, and really work hard with us to make sure that the venue is as good as possible. Last year we made some changes. I'm the first to admit they weren't all successful. But what looks good on paper doesn't always work on the day, and that's what it was. And the weather last year didn't help, but that's not an excuse in any way. The changes we made, some worked, the majority didn't. In fact, what I realised, and the biggest mistake, and I kind of kick myself for this forever, is that in some ways we actually made the experience worse for you because we made the walk a lot further. for some people, and the way we tried to swap around the car park. The one thing the download audience are absolutely brilliant at is being very vocal and telling me what they like and don't like, and long may that continue. And a lot of people apologise for it, and I don't want anybody to apologise. At the end of the day, it's your festival, you know, and I can only make it better with the support of, you know, Melvin, who ultimately, you know, signs off all the money we want to spend, who is as passionate about download as I ever have been, and you guys telling us what's wrong. So, you know, continue to send in the good and the bad. So we did a little. Kate and I did this great video a couple of months ago. We spent the day at Donington filming what we're going to do. I don't know if you all managed to see that, but it gave you a good idea as to what we were planning, and I was so excited for this year. And then when we made the terrible decision, you know, really tough decision to cancel it, which we had no alternative. It was, you know, it was absolutely the right thing to do. You know, the frustration and disappointment for me of not being able to deliver, you know, the changes this year. You know, my ambition with the changes was to, you know, increase the enjoyment of you guys, ticket buyers. More importantly, is to reduce the walking distance. If you look at the new locations, the car parks, the campsites, we've literally halved the walking distance for everybody. And what I wanted to try and do was, if you're camping and you're arriving in a car, if you're in general camping, standard camping, and you arrive in a car, you literally park your car and you walk to the fence, and that's it. You're in the festival. You're in the campsite. Now, if you arrive late on a Friday afternoon, you're going to be parked a bit further away from the entrance than everybody arrived on Wednesday. There's nothing I can do about that. So what we needed to do was split the car parks up east and west. We've lost some land and gained some land for next year. We've lost what were the south car parks, the other side of the road, so over the bridge. We've lost that land now. It's gone to developers, but we've managed to get more land on the arena side of the road. So it means we haven't got the bridge, and straight away that reduces the walking distance. The village, I think the hardest day of the year last year was the first day of the loadout in the village, where we literally just stood there and we hadn't got a clue how we were going to get everything out. In the end, we had to get an 18-wheel wrecker to come in and literally drag all the funfair rides out. So, you know, it was clear that we need to look for a new location for the village. However, when we redesigned the layout with the new land, we realised that the perfect place for the village was actually on what we traditionally call the tarmac lake. It's that big extent of tarmac. So that's what we're doing, developing a village that sits on hard standing, so it doesn't matter if it rains, snows, shine, the village will always be there and in good state condition. We're looking to give it a bit of a theme in the village as well. I just don't want it to feel soulless, like a black extent of tarmac. And all your favourites will be there, you know, the doghouse, Mind the Dog, the bar, the comedy tents, as well as a few new things that we're working on with various people. And the great thing is with the layout now is that campsite village actually sits smack bang in the middle of the campsite again. So just the way it used to be 10 years ago. It's right in the heart of the campsite. So that will make it easy for everybody. The other great thing is we negotiating with the venue is they're now going to allow us to actually walk people around the track where we need to. So it means that we can create some shortcuts for people, especially from the village to the arena, and that will make a massive difference to the enjoyment. It means those of you who prefer to go in RIP, it means the village is within easy reach. So I know that will be a popular thing. But it's not too close to create a noise problem for those of you that want to get some sleep at night, you know, the boring ones. That's kind of it, to be honest. It's, you know, the changes that we made, that we were going to make for this year, we will make for next year and some more. And that's kind of a, you know, a roundup of where we are. We're working, you know, you know, the site plan is actually open on my computer now, and because it's always there, because as I'm walking around, you know, talking, my daughter has worked with us at Download since she's 20 now. I think she's worked there since she was about 14. So she knows the festival as well as you guys do, and she's as passionate about all as all of us. She actually comes up with some really good ideas, because she looks at it from your point of view as a customer, having been to festivals herself. I'm too old to go to festivals. You know, last time I went to festival, you know, it was like a canvas tent, and those little old army rucksacks that we went in. So Ellie's been really good at coming up with ideas, and every day I look at the plan and say, okay, how can we make this work better? How can we reduce the walking distance, etc., etc. So it's something we're constantly working on. So please make sure you bring, you know, keep bringing the suggestions to us. I've noticed there's a couple of chats. Does this mean we no longer have the famous Download Bridge? Yeah, correct, because there's nowhere to go with the bridge. The land has been sold for development. Luckily, it looks like it's going to be commercial development, not residential. When I first heard about it, my first concern was about noise and, you know, the license, but we've been assured it's going to be commercial. So I think it'll be a lot to do with the airport. So freight warehouses, things like that. DHL are expanding daily down there. Had some good times on the bridge. I have a good time on the bridge, but I hope. Right, I'm heading up there tomorrow. If anybody, and it'd be really good if you could pass this round all of the social media, please. I kind of had a feeling that a lot of people would be going to Donington this weekend, and I know that people, you know, looking at social media myself, I've seen that people have already been. Can I just ask that you respect the signs in the venue? But, you know, we're not there. We have nothing there at all for this weekend. They have got a race meeting on Sunday, I think, a small race meeting. So please pass on to all your friends and fellow downloaders. Just respect the venue. You know, they are very, very good to us. They have very limited security. For God's sake, don't start climbing over fencing and breaking it because I have to pay for it. So just pass that on. That would be really good. No trespassing. Yeah, I mean, I have warned the venue. They're not going to chase people off as long as everybody good. It was good seeing you at Cream last year, JP. Who goes to Download and Creamfields?
Vicky, who I've just unmuted, hopefully.
Right. Who's it? See you at Creamfields?
Hang on. I'm trying to get it to unmute her. 1 second.
Oh, don't worry. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, we see a lot of people pass over.
Vicky down the bottom works security. So she's worked security at Download, as work security at Creamfields, various places, and then also she comes to Download as a punter as well. Right,
yeah, I mean, you know, truth be known, Creamfields is my other passion. Also, you know, been involved in from the start. Very, very different festival, very different audience, but equally as passionate about the festival, equally as passionate. Never as good as you guys. They'll never, you know, they'll never get that good. But it's something else I enjoy. Yeah, I mean, the relationship with the venue has improved. It was owned by, well, we used to actually own, when we first started Download, Clear Channel, as we were then, we owned Donington Park, and for some reason we sold it, and I'll never work that out. And the people that took it over were the lunatics that wanted to try and get Formula One there, and they dug up what used to be our arena, so the infield, without telling us. I turned up there for a meeting one January and nearly crashed my car when I drove through the infield and see that they literally bulldozed it and we'd lost our arena. Then we had that horrible year when we moved it down to the bottom of the hill for 1 year, and then we moved it to where it is now, which I personally think is one of the best arenas in the country because of the way it slopes, etc. But MSV, you also own places like Brands Hatch and Alton Park. Jonathan Palmer is the guy that owns it. He's an ex-racing driver. He loves his venues, and he puts a lot of time and effort into keeping them looking good. And I think you have to agree. If you go to Donington today, it looks better with nothing there than it ever has done because they've spent a lot of money on it, and that will only ever help us. So we have a great relationship. Chris, who's the venue manager, has become a friend of mine, and we've got a good relationship. We've actually got an office there as well now. I'm actually based there most of the time, so again it helps me in terms of the developments, because if I come up with an idea on the plan, I can just nip out in the car and drive around to where we're going to make the changes and actually have a look at it. So that's quite useful. Northgate. Oh, so right, okay, Victoria, you were at Creamfields on the Northgate. That's a tough job. That's a tough gate to do. Am I the only person who loved 2008 layout? No, I mean I liked the 2000. I like every year I like the layouts, but it's always about making it better and always looking at ways to, not only do I have to look at the experience that you guys have. When it rains, simple things like emptying toilets, replenishing bars and food and merchandise becomes an absolute nightmare. And you're not aware of that, and you should never be aware of that, because that's not your problem, that's our problem. So we're constantly looking at ways of improving the system so it works. So how do you want to do this? Does anybody want to do questions? You normally have a long list.
We've got some. We have a list. Don't worry. We always have a list on. I think.
Where away when you're ready.
Eamon, I've unmuted you, so I think. Do you want to go ahead with a couple of yours?
Yeah. So, hiya. I've got a couple that have been submitted across the forums and Facebook. They're both pretty much about the same thing, so I'll just merge them all together. First one being, are there any plans to reward the loyalty for customers who opted to roll over their tickets to next year? Similar to what some European fests have done. We know Rock am Ring are giving everyone kind of a loyalty package, which includes a baseball cap and other bits of merch. Maybe that could be done in the form of download dollars with Download Festival. And I feel like I'm at a daily press conference here. Secondly to that.
No. You're asking really sensible questions.
Yeah, that's the one. Question to the director then. Are we likely to see an increase in the size and capacity for next year, and perhaps add an extra day on the end to make up for us all missing out on this year as well?
All right, good questions. The loyalty I'll come back to you on. To be honest, I actually thought of it this morning myself. It was something that I was talking to Ellie about something. It kind of came to my mind. So let me come back to you on that. I need to just check with various people. So that's in terms of the rolling over, and in terms of the size. I mean, we've had bad years where we've only done 50-odd thousand. We've had our best year ever. We actually sold 99,998 tickets, and I went out and bought 2 tickets just so we could do 100,000 tickets, and that was the ACDC year. So we can go literally from 50,000 to 100,000. And it seems to. If we went on sale with Download and didn't announce a single artist, we'd get people buy tickets. But we know that it's headline driven. So it depends on the lineup. But we can go to 100,000 people. Adding an extra day on is not easy because we'd have to apply for a new license because we're only licensed to do X amount of days. So I've not heard of any plans for doing extra days. We have discussed it in the past, and I've no doubt that we'll discuss again in the future, and will probably happen one day. When that will be, I don't know. But knowing Melvin and Andy and everybody else that's involved in working on parts of the festival I don't look after, like me, they want to make it as bigger and, as big and as good as possible next year to make up for the fact that we missed out this year. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Lee had a couple of questions as well. So Lee's from one of the bigger Facebook groups, but is on the forums as well. So I think, do you want to go ahead?
Hi, JP. So going back to capacity of the crowds, because obviously the whole coronavirus and all that as well, is there any chances of you making the capacity smaller with regards to any sort of guidelines that may or may not be brought in? Is that anything that you've thought about maybe?
Let me answer that first, because it's a very good question and it's a very important one. At the moment, we are literally going day by day. We listen to the governments in terms of what they're doing. I personally, I've developed a hatred for the media in the last few weeks. I'm sick and tired of reading or listening about what could happen and what might happen and what may happen. All I'm interested in what is going to happen. So if Boris or somebody else stands there and says this is going to happen, right, we'll act on it. However, we've been naive not to plan ahead. So we once a week we have a get together at the moment where we literally just think through, okay, what could it look like in 2 months, 6 months, 12 months. To be honest, I'm going we're going in a slightly different direction to reducing the capacity because of having to allow more space for people. And what I'm trying to do is find more space, so that if we have to, the arena, when we've got a problem, you could fit 150,000 people in that arena. And if they all put their arms out, they wouldn't touch. It's massive. It's the camping that's difficult. Now, I personally think that things are going to change for a long time. Certain things will happen, change for a long time. I think personal hygiene, people's approach to hygiene will be better. I think I think you'll suddenly find that, washing your hands is becoming a normal thing rather than, oh God, I haven't washed my hands. So things like hand sanitizer, hand washing facilities, spacing campsites, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at the moment. This has all come from Melvin, thinking ahead, what we might do. So rest assured that no matter what if there are any restrictions next year, then we're planning already to be able to deal with them and deliver the festival, as normal. I've got no desire whatsoever to reduce the number of tickets that are available.
It was definitely the probably most asked area when we were putting questions out. There's a lot of stuff around things like general campsites, including more sinks near the big troughs and portaloos, and things like more of the proper plumbing style toilets and sinks that you get at Reading and Leeds. Well, Reading, I don't know about Leeds. More showers, more hand sanitizers, like standalone hand sanitizers, stuff like that.
And that's all stuff that we're looking at. Every single thing you've mentioned, and some more, and some quite radical ideas as well. Just to improve facilities. It's an important thing for us to do. And that's what we're doing, on a daily basis. It's given thought. It's too early for us to start saying what we'll definitely be doing, because we don't know yet what the restrictions are likely to be. If the scientists come up with an injection that everybody can have, then brilliant. If not, then it's probably fair to say there will be some changes. But for me personally, and I'm sure Melvin will be the same, it'll be to, the aim is not to reduce your enjoyment, any more than we have to, because that's the most important thing for us, is making sure that people come and have a great time and go home happy.
I think that's, Jacob, that's a good point that's in the chat. Let me just see if I can unmute you. It didn't like me trying to unmute you earlier. There you go.
Hey there, JP. I was just saying that I think we should be looking at getting hard floors, maybe not, concrete or tarmac, possibly plastic for underneath the water points, because generally
it's funny you should say that. So we've actually been working on, and we've been working on a new drinking water delivery system. I can't go into more detail because it's not been signed off yet.
Understandable.
But yeah, I mean, we'd already, even if we deliver drinking water in the same way as we have done, we need to improve, the facilities, because as amazing as the great job that our plumbers do in terms of, distributing water around a 100-acre site in over 2 weeks. We have leaks, and leaks in public places causes problems. So yeah, it's something we need to talk to. But I'm quite I'm hopeful that the new drinking water system that I've seen that people within Festival Republic are developing, not just for download but for all shows. I'm hopeful that we'll get that, and that will be a big difference.
Okay, I'm just going to unmute Herbs now as well. It's great having this power to mute and unmute people. Where's she gone? Herbs, you should be able to. Was it unmuted, Joe? No. Okay, I need to.
Can I ask you a question while you're doing that? Is it Robert? Is Robert? Are you're in a tent? Yes, in a blue tent. Yeah. Are you at home or somewhere else?
I've unmuted everyone for the minute. That's probably going to be easier.
I can't hear. This is.
Can hear you, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Robert, are you at home in a tent, or are you camping somewhere?
No.
Okay. Never mind. Okay. Well, good on you for being in a tent. I'm impressed. Shame on the rest of you.
It's absolutely pissing it down. I'm not camping in that.
You like used to camping in the sun. So who's next for the questions?
So I think Bradders, I know you had a question. I think you said John's probably answered a little bit of it, but might be worth still asking. I have unmuted people, by the way. If you're still muted, it might be that you've muted yourself on your computer.
Try that. How about now?
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, so the question was really about what does 2021 look like with regards to 2020 being basically written off, but you kind of answered a lot of it already. So
yeah, but we've got 12 months, well, just under 12 months, because we're a week earlier next year, aren't we? Blimey, this time next year it'll all be over. We'll have nearly taken everything out. A lot can happen in 12 months, and I've got a feeling it will, because we're busy, keeping busy at the moment. I've never, I said to Melvin the other day, the download site plan has never looked so good in all the years I've been doing it, because I've got time to do it, and every day without fail, we come up with an idea, and some are you're kind of thinking through anything, well, no, that's actually rubbish. But others are great, and of course the other thing is all the other festival managers are doing the same, and we're constantly talking to each other about what they do at Reading, Leeds, Latitude, Wireless, etc., and just swapping ideas. It's and we'll continue to do that, to help make it better and stronger.
Excellent.
Cool. I think we've got a Hebs now as well.
Hi John, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're all right, good. So I've got a bars question. They always give me the bars questions, makes me sound like that's all I'll give. So we had a few questions around possibly having contactless in the bar areas to help move the queues along quicker, and potentially only having limited bars accepting cash. Is that something that you're planning to bring on board?
So had we, if we were in a field now at Donington, you would have contactless payments at bars. Not all bars. What we're going to do is so the one, I think it was the, if you're standing on the stage, the one out on the right hand.
Oh,
John, have you muted yourself, buddy?
No, it's fine. It's Zim being a pain. Hang on 1 second.
Have you just muted the festival director?
Not intentionally.
Anything.
There we go. Sorry, John. Zim decided to mute everyone again. Technology.
So we were going to have 2 bars this year that were contactless in the basically smack bang in the middle of the arena. One on the left, one on the right. We're also, the bar operator had come up with this really, really great idea that we were going to try. I'm not going to say anything else because I want to try it next year. And if it works, it will be the future of serving beer, quickly at festivals. But just watch this space for next year. Trust me, we want to get a pint in your hand as quick as you do.
Is there any kind of plans like so we've seen with the Tottenham Stadium rebuild and how they've basically revamped the bars there, where they've got the widget fills from the bottom, which fills everything quicker. Is it kind of that kind of idea where it just speeds everything up?
I haven't seen that myself. Somebody told me about it. The problem we've got, we're in a field and we have, the bars have, 5 or 6 days to set up, and it's the technology that's available to us that works in a field, and that's half the problem. Not just with bars, but a lot of things we want to do. Look back at the days of contactless. That year we tried contactless. The only thing that let us down was the network coverage because it's not there. Simply. It's not a simple process to put a network coverage in such a large site. I think if we had it as your ticket and the payment system, if we'd have just had it as the payment system, it wouldn't have been a problem. If we'd have just had it as your ticket, it wouldn't have been a problem. But I think we kind of over challenged ourselves doing the two. And of course, you don't need it now, because there is contactless everywhere, your credit cards, Apple Pay, etc. And that's what we're working on. That works for everybody, because then you decide what form of payment you use.
Cool. There was one question that did come up that I know Heather got in touch with you about, John, just about the camper van ticket stuff.
Oh.
I just wanted to kind of make sure that...
I always used to say, when we used to do the fan forum, I used to say, my dream was to get through a fan forum without being asked a question about toilets, right? Camper vans are the new toilets. Right? You are more passionate about bloody camper vans than you are toilets, right? It's become clear to me that a lot of people, and I personally think there's a bit of an age thing here. I think the older you get, the less attractive sleeping in a tent becomes, and so there's a desire for either RIP or other packages or camp vans. Also, very, very aware that it's really easy to hire a caravan and a camper van these days. I mean, we have some staff that stay in them. So there is a demand for campers and caravans. So what we have looked to do is increase the capacity by looking at new land. The problem with campers and caravans is it has to be land that's accessible to vehicles, and that's half the problem. So this year, the camper van field that's traditionally been there will be there, and we'd increase the capacity of that very slightly. But then we've taken some new land on the infield, right in the middle of the circuit, and that was going to be camper van plus. So you could camper vans. The only difference is camper van plus you get an electric. You pay to get a bit extra to get an electric plug-in. But it's meant that we've significantly increased the camper van capacity for next year. I can't remember off the top of my head how many, but based on the waiting list that I saw for this year, I think we'll be fine. And if we're not, then we'll just have to keep trying to find more land, because I think it's going to become more popular.
Okay.
One thing I didn't know, and somebody asked me, I didn't know that there's been some suggestion that some of the agents, some of the people that sell or hire out campers and caravans are buying up tickets. What can we do about it? The simple answer is nothing. There's nothing we can do, because they're buying a ticket in exactly the same way as you do. If they sell that ticket onto you, then yes, they are breaking our terms and conditions. However, trying to do something about that is almost impossible.
Yeah, that was one I emailed you over about, John, because that one of the questions on the
I didn't realise that was happening. I've seen no evidence of it myself, but if anybody does support it,
yeah, I did ask the guy if he has any sort of evidence and the names of any companies who were doing it, but he came back and said because it was last year he couldn't really remember. So there's really not much we can do going forward if we don't know who it is that's doing it. So.
Okay. What else?
Okay, we've lost Tom, but he did have a specific question about guest tickets, which is why he joined, but I think he'd lost his connection. Were there any upward limits to the guest area hot tickets a day? And if not, are there plans to have it? It's felt a little bit crowded in there the last 2 years. Also, a little bit neglected in terms of what's actually on that side of the fence now. Are there any changes being considered?
Yes, is the simple answer. There's been a lot of conversations about the guest area. I must admit, I don't spend a lot of time in the guest area because I don't have the time to go in the guest area. But Melvin made a comment about it, and one or two other people did. There were suggestions that there was some bad queues at the bar.
Yeah.
Which we've spoken to the bar operator about. There were suggestions that at the time it was busy, it was too busy, so we've made it slightly bigger. I think the problem is that the amount of people from RIP, the capacity of RIP is increased, which means the capacity of the guest area increases because most of them get access to the guest area. So yeah, it's something I must admit I wasn't aware of, and I feel quite guilty about that because I should have been aware of it. But so I apologise for that. But we will address definitely the capacity and the space and the bar service for next year, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think for a long time it felt like a destination to go. Whereas like the last probably 2-3 years, it's felt more of a pass through almost, compared to years back.
Last year, I hope you know that I never ever give excuses. I only ever give facts. Those that were queuing outside the guest area this time last year to get in. I had to hold you out there for a good half an hour, I think, because we weren't ready. And to be honest, the priority is to get the arena open and get, as well. So it was. I felt like last year we were constantly catching up all weekends with we had a guy in there from the office who was managing it, and he just seemed to be constantly on the radio, saying, "Oh, this is to happen, or this isn't working," or so. I suppose at the back of my mind, it was okay. There were issues, and I'm guilty of not following those up. So I apologise, but we will put it better for next year.
I think, Andy, I've unmuted you if you want to. I think you had a question around why the change in the dates for the festival. So I don't know whether you want to.
Yeah. It's just it's been moved forward a week. What was the actual reasons?
I'm on holiday this time next year, so I couldn't make it. I don't know, to be honest. I got to be honest. Melvin told me when we were, I think it was the Saturday, I don't know if it was the Saturday or the Sunday of down there last year. And it was literally like, we met up for a coffee and it was literally like, oh, by the way, we're a week earlier next year. I was like, all right, okay. So I told the venue, I told all the landowners, and I kind of forgot about it because I was a bit busy this time last year. And it wasn't until that I saw the on sale details the other day, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, we're a week early next year. So I don't know. It is likely to be, my gut feeling is it's likely to have, it could be artist related. It could be the fact that either a certain artist that Andy wants to get just to make you all incredibly happy is only available that weekend. It could be that an artist that, or a number of festivals, because it's like especially American bands, they come over and they tour around Europe. It may be that in order to get that particular artist, we've had to, because there's one or two festivals around Europe that tweak their dates. So that's my gut feeling, but it is literally a personal opinion. I've got no facts on that. It's just what it is.
So Harvey, I've unmuted you so you can ask what was in the chat.
With them rolling the date back, was there any pushback from the landowners or local area? Do they have any concerns about moving it, or is it a case of they're pretty happy regardless of when you want to run the festival?
They get paid a lot of money. They're happy. I've never met an unhappy farmer that has a festival on his land. No, I mean, again, we've got a reasonably good relationship with the landowner. We've got a very good relationship with most of them. We've got a couple of new landowners, and actually we've got one new landowner this year, next year. But I know them personally because of where they live. No, it was I mean, to be honest, there was they were gutted it wasn't going to happen this year. And then when we said about the dates, the only one it really affects is the land owned by the people that own Park Farm Hotel, because they obviously have weddings. It's a very popular venue for weddings in the barn. So, they have to do a bit of juggling with dates, but, it is what it is. They all love having the festival on their doorstep. I mean, John, who owns the hotel, is a friend of mine, and the amount of, don't get me wrong, if we get something wrong, last year, we hired one of his fields for the first time, and we put telegraph poles in the field, the festoon lighting through the middle, just because telegraph poles are a bit more robust than using scaffold. And he went absolutely mad because I hadn't asked him, and we literally bored all these holes, through the middle of his field. But then if you look at what he does at Park Farm, all right, he makes a profit, he makes money out of it, but he's constantly looking for ways to improve, the offering at Park Farm. And he's very much, an important part of the festival.
So, Robert, I think you had a question further up the chat that I might have missed, saying how would that affect disabled campsite? And I just want to make sure that gets caught, because I know that you are kind of on the call, the one we kind of with from the disabled campsite. So was that about something specific?
You're still mute.
I think you're still on mute on your computer.
That's it. Get the wife sorted out.
Mel does tend to sort him out a lot.
What she's done while I've been sitting here is bloody drink.
Some people have got some want to be on that field at Donington. Okay, I don't think we're going to get it to work, but Robert, if you send me over your question that was specifically about, we'll make sure we get it answered.
Let me guess what the question is. Let me see if I can get the question. Well, let me see if I can answer what I think the question was going to be. So we have more. Our access campsite is bigger than any other access campsite in the world, you know, and it's something I'm quite proud of. 12 years ago? I think 12 years ago, we were threatened to be taken, not for download, for another event. A lady threatened to take us to the Court of Human Rights because of the way she was dealt with at another festival. And we went to arbitration with her, and I went along and sat and listened to her. And she told me what her experience, you know, of what had happened. And I you know, I don't mind admitting it. It moved me to tears. The fact that you know, she'd come to one of the festivals I was responsible for delivering and been treated in a way by, you know, not just employees, you know, security and even members of the public, and it absolutely appalled me. And I invited her to become an advisor for us, and she did for a couple of years, and it was brilliant, and it was a real eye opener. And then when we became part of Festival Republic, Melvin has got such a passion for quality, you know, whether it be sexual, racial, you know, disability. And we've now got a whole team of people, you know, Mina and a team that look after this. And, you know, I've learned so much over the years by listening to them and listening to the, you know, people that are in the disabled campsite. I think when we moved it to the part of the track was great because you've got all that tarmac of the track to make use of. Last year it was a bit of a nightmare getting people to and from the village. I get that. You know, but we're always constantly looking to improve it. We put the disabled camp vans on paranoid, absolutely paranoid about somebody putting an awning on the side of their camp van and knocking a peg into the tarmac, the racetrack, because if that would happen, they can't, because it's a racetrack, they can't just patch it up. They have to literally relay the entire racetrack at a cost about 1.8 million quid. Don't ever knock pegs into the racetrack is the lesson there. So we put the campers and caravans, the disabled campers and caravans on the infield. It kind of worked, you know, it kind of didn't. I think the charity concierge, the child.org people that did the service backwards and forwards in the conditions they were working in, the rain, etc. I think they did a great job. But we needed to improve. So for next year, what we were going to have it for this year. For next year, we will have the loop of the racetrack as we normally have. We will also have what used to be the disabled campsite just the other side of the wall on the corner. We've taken that back off RIP and given them another field, and that field will become the campers and caravans for our access customers, and an overspill, because we never want to be in a situation where we have to say sorry, we're sold out of accessible tickets, and we shouldn't be in that situation. So it's all about, you know, getting bigger and bigger. The benefits of both of those areas is you are literally, you couldn't be any closer to the village for a start. You know, Mina was saying about, oh, you know, what route is the minibus going to take from the campsite to the village? And it's like, I honestly don't think you need a minibus because it's there. You know, I stood her outside the entrance to the disabled campsite, and I said, you know, look, if you lean forward, you can literally touch the village. You know, why? By the time they've waited for a minibus, I know what they're like. You're so impatient, you lot. By the time they've waited for the minibus to come round, they'll have bloody walked, wheeled, or, you know, however they transport themselves. So that's what we're going to do. The other thing is, from both campsites to the village is tarmac all the way. You don't have to go on one single piece of grass to get to the village. I think we probably will have a concierge service, you know, buggy or something for people that, you know, just haven't got the strength. I don't know. That's down to Mina, but I know it's something she's aware of. But personally, I think it'll be the best experience possible. A few years ago when we got it wrong, I did a very similar thing where I can't remember the lady's name from the disabled campsite. She lived down in South Wales somewhere, and Ian and I went and met with her and listened to her, and I used to come. I came to a few meetings in the days and on the show days. Was that about 3 years ago? Some people will never be happy. That's just life. But I'd like to think the majority of people will see the changes we've made around accessibility will be very positive. Does that answer the question? Good. You can go back to drinking now.
I think we've got 2 left on if you've got time. I'm conscious
we're
taking up
I
don't want to interrupt you golfing.
No, not today. It's too wet for golf.
So I think, Ben, you had one. I'll just unmute you.
Ahoy. Yeah, speaking of download, it is hammering it down outside my window. I'm very happy to be inside for a change.
I'm just up the road from Castle Donington. It's beautiful sunshine.
Folks I know who live around there have other ideas, sadly. No, I mean, maybe I don't know if you can answer this one or not. It's sort of downloads profitability and stuff, because the impression that I've picked up from the occasional podcast that Andy does and snippets you read and you interpolate the rest is download costs a heck of a lot of money, like 25 million quid. It doesn't own the land. It has to compromise quite a lot. It doesn't always make much money, if any money at all. So is download always an absolute given, or do you guys have to continually defend it from the finance guys of Festival Republic who want to invest the money somewhere else, or go, it's not much money to pull it?
Really simple question to answer, and that is, if people continue to buy tickets, we'll continue to run download. It's as simple as that, and it's like that for every festival. I think some festivals have got shelf life. I mean, I'm not, I think some of you know, my involvement in Live Nation has changed. 4 years ago, I kind of semi-retired and then started working with Melvin as a consultant, and I'm actually back full time now, working with Festival Republic, and it's very different because I've got rid of dealing with the politics. I'm sure you can imagine exist in a very large corporate company, and all I do now is put on festivals for Melvin, and it works for both of us. We are constantly, and he definitely is constantly looking for new ideas. He very much challenges us to come up, to improve, to be better, to make things better. He kind of, if ever you turn around to him and say, well, it's always worked that way, I think he'd crucify you. It's, why do you do something? We do it that way because that's the best way to do it. That's the answer, not because that's the way we've always done it. I think download has developed over the years. I think, in some ways, I think the audience, there's no doubt about it. The audience I think audiences all over the country, in all different music genres are more demanding. They want, they have more of a social media is absolutely heaven for you guys in terms of telling us, what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. It's an absolute bloody nightmare for us, because you have to stop yourself from, as soon as the doors open, you have to stop yourself from being on there every 10 minutes, seeing what people are saying. It's my pride and joy, it's my baby. I've worked on all year, and then you open the doors and people start slagging it off because one toilet isn't open or something. So, but so we're always looking for ways to develop it. But that's the question. You keep buying tickets, we'll keep producing it. However, you're only going to keep buying tickets if it's something that you enjoy, and that's the challenge. It's making sure that it's successful in terms of you wanting to buy a ticket. So that's the only way I can really answer that. If that helps.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I think we have 2 small ones. So will the co-op definitely be coming back in 2021? And the pre-ordering of cold cans, the Carlsberg.
As far as I know, yes to both. I mean, obviously, you've got to understand that this coronavirus has affected lots of companies. I'm very lucky that I work for a company who value their staff more than anything. The majority of people at Festival Republic are on furlough. Luckily, I'm not, because I'd go around the bend if I was. There's only so much golf you can play in 1 week. So I'm lucky that I've got that, but there are companies that are, that will struggle and have struggled, and we don't know what position the co-op will be financially at the end of the lockdown. When things start to return to normal. I think if they can, they will, because they get a huge amount of benefit from being a download. The cold cans is actually something that I want to expand on. In fact, pre-ordering is something I'm kind of writing a paper for at the moment, in terms of I think we can do more with pre-ordering in terms for you guys. So you can literally select online before you get there and have it delivered, probably not your tent, because that would be or where are you? I'm in the blue tent. Great, okay, just let me work out which blue tent. Well, we can maybe, a bit like Amazon, you'd have a collection point in a field. That's the kind of thing I'm looking at.
And then would that be the same for the Danish Quarter as well? Because that came with Carlsberg, didn't it?
Yeah, and that was really good. That was brilliant. I literally walked past it. I didn't go into it, but I've been in it at other festivals. Again, they've got plans to develop it, but they're in the same. In fact, they're worse, because pubs and clubs aren't open at the moment. I think subject to their business plans, their ability to continue to invest the money, then I think, because they both benefited from being a download.
Okay, I think, unless I've missed any, so please shout up if I have. I think we've got. Vic, you've got one. Let me just. I've unmuted you, so you might need to unmute on your device.
So it's the recycling.
Oh.
Fat Franks have done a buy. So you buy stuff on site, particularly a tent, and then at the end of the weekend, you actually can drop it off if you don't want it anymore. So I can't remember if it's a rental or something like that, but it's all to do with minimizing waste, basically being left on site once people leave if they don't want it. I know Boomtown trialed something last year as well, and there was a massive difference in leftover waste. But they also did the educational approach as well, of pushing people to try and get rid of stuff and either take it with them or actually try and dispose of it properly. I was wondering if maybe either there was a consideration to look into this as a potential kind of option to trial it, basically.
I wasn't aware of that, and I'll have a word with Victoria, who's our sustainability manager. About that. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, the most successful thing we've done recently that I want to develop more is the eco campsite. We did it last year, the first year. I can't remember if last year was the first year.
2 years.
2 years. So we've done the last 2 years, and we have actually. We've done the last 2 years. And everybody took every single thing home with them, and it was brilliant. And I suppose in my mind, I'm a bit like, well, why can't everybody do that? If you carry it there, why can't you carry it back? You should carry it back. However, I know that the younger age group amongst us are less likely. We know for a fact that it's the youngsters. If you think it's bad at download, just come to Creamfields.
They just set a light to everything.
It is unbelievable. They literally leave everything. The majority of the audience, so it is not for us. We've tried all sorts of initiatives. We've tried, we brought in a couple of charities one year and said, right, go around the campsite and help yourself to any tents or anything else that you want. And of course, the problem is that most of them are decimated, covered in beer or urine or worse, and you know, they don't want to touch them. We had that very successful company years where we had a company who developed a 100% recyclable tent. The problem with tents is every single component is not recyclable. And they came up with this tent that was 100%, every single part of it was recyclable. They spent a fortune buying them. We had them at every festival in the UK. The first year it was great and very successful. The second year it was a bit wet. Everybody found out they were not waterproof. So that was a venture that disappeared very quickly, and the company got their fingers burnt. So, you know, we are constantly trying. Vicky, who's like I said, is our head of sustainability. You know, I've learned. You know, I'm 60 years old now, and you know, I'm playing catch up in terms of you know, sustainability, and I do that from, you know, watching things on, you know, David Attenborough, Blue Planet. You know, is a real eye-opener. Listening to my son and daughter, who, you know, 18 and 20, are very, very much into it. And Vicky's been brilliant. And I make a point of, you know, talking to her every week about ideas. And we will look into this one. I'll put it on, see it on the chat there. And we will look at if that's a possibility, because I quite like that idea. But what I want to do is increase the eco campsite more. You know, at the moment it's probably, I don't know, 4% of the campsite, and I want it to be 50%. I want to end up with half the people coming to download, and we're you know, this is going to take a matter of years. But we need you know, half the people to download, you know, at least half taking everything home with them, you know, looking after themselves and the environment. Tall order, I know, but it's, you know, aim high.
Okay, I think we've got everything then, unless anybody particularly has anything else. We good? Thumbs up if we are.
So nobody's asked me a question about merchandise, which is normally a popular one.
I think the stuff last year went down quite well, to be honest, and then I know the download at home stuff has gone down really well.
Charity t-shirt, we were bowled over. Absolutely bowled over.
Although there has been, I think there's been a few problems with the delivery of some of the download at home stuff. I know we've seen on some of the bigger Facebook groups. So Vicky, who's down in Vicky Castle, is one of the admins, along with Jess and Andy, of the big 50k download group. And we've seen quite a few people in there saying they've had problems with delivery.
It's just reminded me the plan for this year, they'll do it again next year. So we're bringing a big merchandise superstore. So this is almost like a shop where you can walk in. Also, if you look at the queues last year, part of the problem is, you know, you queue up, you get to the front of the queue, and then it's like, oh, can I try on a t-shirt? And that's all taking time. So the idea is to have people working the queues with blank t-shirts saying, there you go, try these on, so that when you get to the front of the queue, you already know what size you want. And that will reduce the waiting time a lot. You know, the merch guys we work with, they're only based in Nottingham, and they're brilliant, and they're constantly coming up with some really good ideas, and it's something that we want to develop over the next few years. So watch this space. Let me just go through some merch store. Is the dog squad returning? Yes, as far as I know. I saw a comment earlier which I quite liked, and whoever posted, thank you. I mean, yeah, we offered you the choice of having your money back or rolling your tickets over. A lot of people haven't been that lucky with tickets. So it's an important thing. Am I angry copying? Andy Coffin is one of my dearest friends. Andy and I actually share a flat in London. When we're down in London, we live together. He's a great guy. I sometimes feel really sorry for him, because he could come up with the best lineup in the world, and somebody will have a problem with it. and you know, he you know, I think people kind of personally attack him. He's you know, you booked a shit lineup in my opinion, so you're a wanker. And it's not, you know, he's doing his job. He can only book what's out there. You know, and you'll never please everybody. We cater for such a wide range of all, you know, of musical likes. It's, you know, it's difficult. Anything else?
I'm just reading back through, but I think we've covered everything. Jacob's asked about the merch sizing. It doesn't come in some of the bigger sizes. I know that's been.
No, it does.
A couple of times.
They run out too quick, and it's something I'm pushing them with. But I've got a call with them actually next week about something, so I'll mention that.
Jacob, again, I'd like to see Download. I like this question, Jacob. I'd like to see Download expand the takeover. Give us the whole day on the Thursday.
Oh God, one.
You knew there had to be a question about the takeover in there, John. Heather's internet's broken, so it's got to be me that asks it.
Even the dog has laid down and covered her ears over the takeover. So watch this space. What I want to do, I want to move the village. I go back to what I said earlier about Melvin constantly kind of challenging us to improve. I want to get the village settled in a new home. You know, where it used to be, you know, from when we first started, it was great because we knew it like the back of our hand. Let me try this new location this year, and then once I'm happy, we're going to develop it. I mean, it's a brilliant, you know, it's not just the tarmac. I mean, there's the vast majority of the village will run off mains power, so there'll be no need for generators, so no fuel. So, you know, already. Yes, from a sustainability point of view, we're ticking some boxes. But let me just kind of get a feel for how it works, and then we'll see what we can develop a bit further.
I think we've covered everything then, unless anybody wants to pop anything in the chat or shout up at all.
We managed to get through a whole fan forum without mentioning security. That must be a record.
Yeah, I think it is.
Toilets, we're not mentioned. It's great. I mean, security. Security. We've made some quite big changes in the last 3 or 4 years. The vast majority of you wouldn't even see, you wouldn't even be aware of. It's frustrating sometimes when I see, I wasn't, the security level for the country is very high, but it's very lax when you come to download in terms of search and etc. And to behind the scenes to keep everybody safe, especially from a counter-terrorism point of view. With the companies, I'm happy with the companies that we use now at Download, but we're constantly working with them to improve. And it's all about briefing. One of the things we were going to address this year, and had already started to address, is traditionally what happens is they turn up on the, for the campsite, they arrive on the Tuesday and get briefed Tuesday night or Wednesday morning and go straight to work. And we're changing that, so the briefing was actually starting last month. By getting managers in and supervisors and briefing like that. We're doing the same with Creamfields and one or two other festivals. So, that's what we're looking to do is improve, the information they have, because there's nothing worse than one of you go up to a security guard and ask them a question, and if he doesn't know the answer or gives you the wrong answer. I know that's something that a lot of people criticise me about. Is there anything else on security?
I think there was one in there about drug testing around security. Let me just unmute Jacob because I think it came from him. If it'll let me. There you go.
Hey there. Basically, some festivals, I believe Vicky gave us the name of the show that does it, The Loop. They go in and test drugs at the festival for people who want to take drugs. Now, obviously, we're never going to encourage people to take drugs, but unfortunately they do, and it's best that they do it safely if they're going to. Are we going to be inviting the Loop to come, or any other company, charity like that, to sort of enable safe drug taking, or safer drug taking, I should say?
Okay, this is you've entered into my area of expertise now because of Creamfields. Creamfields is, it's a fact that we have a high percentage of people that take drugs at Creamfields Festival. It's a dance music festival, and dance music brings that kind of problem to us. The drug testing is something that, and I can only speak personally. This is absolutely John Probyn's thoughts and not necessarily the company's thoughts. Although I think I'm probably fair to say that Melvin would agree with the majority. There is no such thing as safe drug taking. Number one, because you have no idea what the contents of those drugs are, and it's not necessarily the contents; it's the strength of what's in there. An on-the-ground drug test, an on-site drug test, can tell you what's in the drug. What it can't tell you is how strong it is. So that's problem number one. It can say, right, in this drug there is X, Y, Z, but it can't tell you what quantity, and so we can't work out what that could actually do to you. The other thing is, I have a real, and this is where, in my personal opinion, I have major concerns about testing somebody's drug and saying to them, if we say to them, yes, we test your drug, it's got X, Y, Z in it, so therefore it's safe to take, and then that person then dies as a result of the drugs. I'd have a morally and probably legally, I'd have a real problem with that. We spoke to the Loop for Creamfields. We had many conversations with them. They put out some very kind of bold claims about what they can and can't do, which isn't necessarily backed up with science. I'm a black and white guy. If somebody comes to me and can prove to me that something can be done and show me the relevant backup for that, then I'm happy to accept it. So we, certainly in terms of Creamfields are concerned, we don't feel that at the moment there is a suitable front of house drug testing system available in this country. So what we do at Creamfields, and what we did at Download last year for the first time, is we have a company called Hazmat, and they work for with their own office. They also work with the police, and they test drugs, but they test them back in house. So at Creamfields, every single drug that we seize is tested, and they can tell us what the content. So if we have something that comes into Creamfields and it's tested, they come to us and go, this has got, I don't know, compound 57 in it, which is known to result in overheating of the body and then cooking your brain. We put messages out on social media and on the screens all around the site telling people that, for your information, there are pills in circulation containing blah, blah, blah. Make sure you drink loads of water. Make sure you keep cool, seek medical help if you want it. So that's been our approach at Creamfields. To be honest, the Download, the only drugs used to get Download was I've always said that the Downloader's drug of choice is alcohol. That's always been my feeling. And you get, you walk around the campsite and you can smell, a bit of weed and that. And it was interesting. After the Manchester bombings, the first time we had the drugs dogs in, and I was up at the by the bridge where you come over the bridge to the car park. And the security guy came up to me and he said, there's a load of packages all on the floor. I think they're drugs. And we went up, and when I say a load, there was literally hundreds. And it was mainly weed. And it was people coming over the bridge, seeing the dogs and thinking they were sniffer dogs. They were drugs dogs. And literally ditching their weekend stash It's look, you know, drugs it's not a Creamfield's problem. It's not a festival problem. It's a problem in society. You know, when the pubs reopen, you go to your local pub, and I can guarantee that somebody in there will be in possession of drugs, you know, Class A drugs, because it's a problem in society. You know, you can buy drugs cheaper than you can buy a pint. You know, that's a ridiculous thing now. And you know, Ellie again and my son Jack, they both worked at Creamfields, and they both spent time in the welfare tent and in the police search tent, and it's made them probably the two most passionate kids in terms of opposing drugs you can think of, because they've seen firsthand the devastating effect that drugs can have on because you have no idea what you're taking. So you know, we don't have a drug problem at Creamfields, but we want to be aware of what our customers are taking. So anything that we see, we test. It's nowhere near what we get at Creamfields or in most other festivals, because like I say, you're too busy getting pissed to be taking drugs.
I think we've got one question left, John, which if Harvey's still there, I'm going to pass over to him for. And I think, to be honest, it's probably a really good question to end the chat on, because it is a regular, and it wouldn't be a fan forum or a Q&A with you if it didn't get asked. So, Harvey?
You ever going to do any fucking rides in the arena when the bands are playing the main stage?
So the first bit again, do what?
You ever going to do anything about the music coming from the rides in the arena when the bands are playing on the main
stage? Scream if you want to go faster. I'll tell you a funny story. In the campsite, it wasn't last year, it must have been the year before. I went over to see Mick Roberts, who's the campsite manager in the Stanley campsite. I went over to see him. It was about, the arena had closed like that. It was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. And as I walked to his office, he came storming out, and he was heading off the vision. I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'll be back in a minute, just hang up." So I followed him, and he went into the booth of one of the funfair rides, and he got hold of the bloke and he said, if you say scream if you want to go faster one more time, I'm going to stick that microphone so far up your arse. And as a result of that, and it came up last year again, so we've spoken to the funfair operators and told them it needs to stop.
Here's hoping, because I get really sick of that question every single year.
I mean, we try and create a nice vibe in the arena. I mean, it's one of the busiest arenas you find. I mean, last year we did the syndrome has grown and grown and grown, and last year, the air guitar competition, which I think is brilliant. And Luke and I, who work with Luke and I, would walk through the arena up the hill away from the main stage, and all of a sudden we can hear this music. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's like, well, we're too far away from stage 4. It's not the main arena. And we suddenly realised it was the syndrome. And what had happened was the way I designed it so the PA system would face a certain way, so it wouldn't cause a problem. And when they set it up, I hadn't, because we were so busy trying to get the bloody thing open, I hadn't gone and checked on them. They'd face the PA down the hill towards the main stage. So if you stood in a certain space, you had this clash of main stage syndrome and a bit of stage 4 hitting in. It was horrible. So again, we were moving the syndrome. We found a new home for that, so that can continue to develop and get bigger and better and be part of the arena. But I know that funfair ride music is an issue, and I'm on it.
Fabulous. I think that's us then. That's a little bit longer than I think we thought originally.
Like I said, I'm not playing golf because it's raining, and my diary is not exactly stacked out at the moment.
Does anyone have anything else then before we tie off? I have unmuted people, so shout up if you've got anything in particular, or even if you just want to say thank you.
I think she's had enough, mate. I think she's had enough. She's definitely peaked.
No, seriously, cheers for your time, John. It can't be fun working for an organisation where half your customers think all you care about is money, and it must be a bit of a thankless job. So thanks for your efforts.
I wouldn't say half. Listen, for me, it's the challenge. I can't get out of bed unless I've got a challenge.
You've definitely got a challenge with download.
I love doing this because you guys are important. The information that you give me, download wouldn't be where it is now had it not been for the amazing support of the company, and constantly pushing us. People like Melvin pushing us to do better. But you guys tell us what you think. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
And I'm doing something tomorrow on. Kate, you need to tell me what I'm doing tomorrow because
I saw that. I did think when it was an Instagram live, I thought, oh, that's going to be interesting.
It's on Sunday, John.
It's like Instagram's one of those things where I'm on it and I go, oh Christ, I posted a photo. How did I do that?
Yeah, it's on Sunday, but I'll speak to you later.
Ellie said she'll help me, but.
Oh, good. Everyone, make sure you watch Download TV this weekend as well. It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
4.5
Make sure you watch
hours.
the 4D takeover today.
4D takeover tonight at 7, and then there's 2 parts of the day every day, which is going to be on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, and then in the evening time there's a YouTube stream which is over 4.5 hours of new interviews, old performances, exclusive performances, premieres of tracks, like all sorts of really cool stuff. So
Does anyone?
Cool.
Cool.